We are going to discuss important annotations used in Spring Boot application. First, we see at Spring Boot application. At Spring Boot application, annotation is used to mark the main class of a Spring Boot application, and it combination of three annotations. At configuration, at enable auto configuration, at component scan annotations. At configuration. When we use at configuration in class, Spring use this class as a source of bean definitions, and the methods within the class annotated with @bean are used to define beans. We have class myConfig, and we annotate this class at configuration. So it considered a configuration class. Configuration classes can contain bean definitions and configuration methods. Inside a configuration class, you can use @bean annotations on methods to define Spring beans. These beans will be registered with the Spring container and can be used throughout your application. Next we have @component scan. When you use @component scan in your Spring application, Spring will scan the specified package and its subpackages to find classes annotated with @component, @service, @repository, and @controller, and also register them as beans in the Spring container. In this example, @component scan is used in a configuration class, appconfig, to specify that Spring should scan the com.example.app package and its subpackages for classes annotated with Spring component stereotypes. These classes will be automatically registered as beans in the Spring container. @enable auto configuration. This annotation is used to enable automatic configuration of the Spring Boot application based on the class path and the properties in the application.properties or application.yml file. When @enable auto configuration is present, Spring Boot automatically scans the class path for various configuration classes provided by Spring Boot and configures beans based on the detected dependencies. This is a powerful feature that simplifies the setup of a Spring Boot application, as it eliminates the need to manually configure many aspects of the application. Now we will see stereotype annotations. @component. It is base stereotype annotation. And @service, @repository, and @controller are derived stereotype annotations. @component. It is a class-level annotation. It is used to denote a class as a component. We can use @component across the application to mark the beans, then Spring scan this beans and manage its life cycle begin from of object creation to destroy. Typically, it is used for classes that do not fall into more specific categories like @service, @repository, or @controller. A component is responsible for some operations. Spring Framework provides three other specific annotations to be used when marking a class as a component like @service, @repository, and @controller. @controller. @controller is an annotation used to indicate that a class is a Spring MVC controller. It is used to mark a class as a controller that handles incoming HTTP requests and returns the response in the form of a view. @service. @service is a specialization of the @component, parent annotation, and is used to mark a class as a service component in a Spring application. It is often used to indicate that a class provides a specific service or business logic. @repository. @repository is another specialization of the @component annotation and is used to mark a class as a data access component in a Spring application. It is typically used for classes that interact with a database or perform data access operations.